Okay, this is going to be a short video of how you can use a website called Carousel Learning to help with your remote learning. And actually, it's very useful in class when we return to the classroom. I've been using it with S1s and using the laptops, and they've absolutely loved it, and it works really well. So, what is Carousel Learning? So basically, it's a website which you can load questions up to and create classes. This allows you to basically improve pupils' learning by getting them to do retrieval practice, so the recall of information. The website helps us by creating flashcards so they can practice revising key terms and definitions or common questions and answers. And then when they feel ready or when you direct them to, they take test mode, which is when out of that deck of flashcards, you're going to select a certain number of questions. They see the question and they have to remember the answer. So they're practicing that recall to strengthen memory. And then they type in what they think the correct answer is. When they get to the end, they're going to mark it themselves. So they're building on that power of, is that correct? And is it a good enough answer? Have I said the right things? They're doing this by comparing it to your provided marking scheme answer. So does that say word for word the same? If it is word for word the same, the computer marks it straight away as correct. But if it's slightly different, they have to make that judgment, is it close enough? Once they've done that, you close the quiz so no one else can submit, and then you mark it. And you can quickly change it so that you're only marking the ones that the computer hasn't marked, that have been marked by the pupils. And that's quite interesting. You can take note of ones that you're changing and give feedback to the class, to the individuals, as to why you changed it. And then it's good, it lets you to analyse the overall class's performance, and you can give feedback on how they're doing, gives you feedback, and you talk about how to better improve answers. And encourage them to use flashcards, to use this Carousel Learning website on a regular basis by you setting revision tasks for them to improve their learning. Okay, so enough talking about it. Let's go and have a look at it. So let's change back to the entire screen. Okay, there we go. So this is the Carousel Learning website. I'll go back a couple of pages. So if you Google it, you're going to get this website here. So Carousel-Learning, and I've just done it to the dash to find it. So it's easy enough to find. First time you do it, you're going to want to register for it. Okay, so click register up here, and I just use my school email address for this. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to sign it. So as I said, I've been using this already, so I can see my quizzes at the top. My S1s, 11 out of 20 and 12 out of 20. These are the ones that were in the day when we did this live. Natural order revision was a previous one. We're past that topic now, so I'm going to archive that just to keep it nice and neat at the top. Down the side here are my question banks, the ones that I've already loaded up, and here are my classes on the right. So I'm going to show you how to create a question bank and then load it up. So first of all, you're going to need a spreadsheet. First of all, we need a name spreadsheet. So it has to be in this format, okay? And I'm going to provide this as a blank template for you. First name and last name. Now, it's important, some of you guys may recognise the significance of these names, that we're only going to use the first name for data protection, okay? And then we're going to use only the first letter of their surname. When people are asked to log in, I ask them for their first name and surname, and it has to match. So I just post in the classroom, you know, if your name is Lewis Arthur, your username is Lewis, and your A. So Lewis for first name, A for surname, and that lets them log in. No password. They're not actually joining the account, so there's no data protection in that sense. It's just access to flashcards. Okay, so I'm going to save this as names. So let's just save it to my PC. Not my drive. Okay, that's my spreadsheet saved. The second spreadsheet you are going to need is your questions. Again, I'm going to give this blank. It needs to have number, question, answer, and topic as the headings. You can see I've done Unit 1, Key Area 1, Key Area 2, and so on. So I've just gone through the SQA course notes and created these. And today I've created this blue section because this is my next topic coming back. So I've already loaded questions up to 82, and I'm going to replace that question bank with my updated one. So if I hold Shift, I think it's Shift, let's see if that works. Nope. Is it Control? Yeah, hold Control and drag that down. It just keeps adding the numbers on. Okay, I've made it blue just for preference to see the difference. Now the first two I've done deliberately to show this if I don't usually use this site at all. These are just, I've copy and pasted this from SK course notes and they've missed the keyword. I already use things like Kahoot and quizzes to do the missing words so they can just type in for quick feedback and instant marking that way. So these are a bit basic. What's really good for Carousel Learning is the ones that's a bit more open-ended, and that's why they're self-marking before you mark it. So I'm asking them to describe what's happening. I'm asking them to describe. I'm saying what's required. And you can see some of them might just say oxygen, but really, I want to give them a greater answer than that. Sorry. Okay, so we'll say what happens to abbreviate and explain why. So I'm giving them a longer one. They're going to have to read their answer and compare it to this to see if it gets the mark or not. Okay, so I've got my question numbers, I've got my questions, I've got my answers, and now I need to label them. So these are all going to be 1.7, so that's able to control this time. I can just drag down and it's going to make them all 1.7. And then I'm going to click and I'm going to save this one. So this is higher human biology, it's now 1.1 and it's to 1.7. And I'm going to say not finished because I had more questions than that. Okay, two spreadsheets saved. So let's go to the website. Let's do the class first. So I'm going to create a new class. Before you enter information, I'd make sure your file works first of all. Quite often it says it doesn't work if there's a mistake in the format, and you have to fix the format and try again. So browse files, let's see if I can find this one. There it is, the names. So we'll double click on that. And this is just going to be my practice class. Okay. So that was the cranky, so let's go for music. Using our biology questions. Upload and it's worked. So I can view the class and we can see we Ian Cranky and Jimmy Cranky up there. Now actually that's a mistake. Capital K and a small k. That may be case sensitive. So again, that's something to watch out for and just keep it as a capital each time. Okay, so we're learning by doing. Right, back to the dashboard. Now I want to replace this one with my new ones. So if I go to edit this one, you guys will be obviously creating one from scratch, but it's very similar. You get this same page. I've called this hacking biology. I've said when it is, and I'm going to move this to 1.7. These are optional. It's English based. We can skip that, and we can skip that one. Oh, hang on. I'm only editing the description. Oh, okay. So you can't just reload a new question back on top of it. Instead, then I'll do what you're going to do. I'm going to delete that one and create a whole new one. So let's check the questions are going to load up first of all before we waste time adding the text, because if you do that and it doesn't work, it has to be done again. So go into my pen drive, Carousel Learning, most recent documents, this one, and I'm going to load up. Okay, it doesn't actually tell if it's worked or not until I try it, so fingers crossed it does work. So higher human biology unit 1, and it's 1.1 to 1.7. And it's finished. I can do that later. There's a biology. I don't need these two things. Private, so only I can see it. Later on, maybe we can look at shaving it. And we're going to upload that. Okay, 87, the question has a blank field. Good, so I'm actually glad this didn't work because it's the most common thing I found with this. It's making quick corrections. So we'll go back to 87. Is there. I think it's to do with this one being a two-line answer, probably. What is required? It's got a number, it's got an answer, take a comma away. Ah, sorry, I see the mistake. It's 87 here, not question 7. So row 87 in the spreadsheet is question 86. Describe what happens, and there's not actually an answer yet. Okay, I've pasted the answer into the question. That's my mistake. So I'm just going to cut that. Put it here. Okay, so even with mistakes, it really doesn't take that long. So we're going to try again. Those files, same document again. Fashion biology. They got saved that for me. Biology, good. And let's try again. Okay, this time it has worked. And there you go, all my questions have been loaded up. So let's see how we use it then. So at the top here are your quizzes. I'm going to create a new quiz. I'm just going to call this CPD for practice one. Have a deadline for tomorrow. In fact, let's go for next week. There's actually closing the deadline, it's just for the pupils. That's my question bank. And if I click on topics, you can see these are all my ones. So I've just taught 1.7 is my new one. So I might select just 1.7 because I've just finished teaching it. What's really powerful is interleaving though. 1.7 is about respiration, which is based on enzymes. So I might want to go back and do 1.6, which includes enzymes. And way back in 1.3, we talked about gene expression, how enzymes are made. So that's kind of relevant. So I'm going to include all 3 topics. Now, let's say I want to do 15 questions. And I'm going to leave revised topics on here. I'll come back to that in a second. So I can go in and select these questions. I'm going to just tend to hit select random and then have a look to see if it's an even spread. So these are describe the process. That's a bit too easy one. And I'd rather have that question there, so I'm going to change that one. Save search for differences, that's good. Okay, so you can check I'm happy with these questions and I can add more questions or choose the ones I want. So I'm going to confirm these are the ones. Now, if I want people just to revise those 15 flashcards, click this and they'll only get those 15 flashcards to revise. I'm going to tick this. This gives them all the flashcards, but only for topics 1.3, 1.6, 1.7. So they can revise the 3 topics, and out of those 3 topics, they'll randomly get those 15. I'm going to click assign. There's no way there's a quiz with that in this one. Oh, lots of teachers are doing this online, so let's call it Hamilton Grammar School. Okay. See if that message disappears, right? And the class, I called it practice class. So it's this one here. Create quiz. Okay, so there it is there. I go to my 3 dots. I create a link. That's copied to my clipboard. I go to my Google Classroom. I create an assignment and I paste that in as an attachment along with instructions. When they fill these out, the locked ones means that I've closed them already and I've marked them. Unlocked means it hasn't been closed yet. So let's look at this one here. We can analyze results. And here we go, we can have a look at their performance and discuss with them. We can hover over questions and talk about ones. We can go back to different topics and analyse this together with the class. Or as a teacher, I can take notes separately myself and then feedback them. Okay, hopefully that was useful.